Michael Jackson didn't perform at Live Aid, probably the biggest star in the world at the time.
We've had such incredible guests, and they're only getting, more and more interesting as the episodes go by. We're going to have this season some spectacular people from all walks of life, musicians, society people, more producers.
We want to hear their stories. And we also want to hear what it was like for them growing up, even though they might not necessarily be the determination of Generation X.
We're interviewing businessmen, people who've been inspired and are now inspirational. And I love that. And I think we're learning a lot also.
It's almost as if their career depended on that performance.
Hello, and this is Stacey Jackson and
Roy Basnett.
And welcome to the second season of the Gen-X-Perience Podcast.
Yeah, basically, if you were born between 1965 and 1980, that makes you a Gen Xer. And if that is the case, then this podcast is for you.
Absolutely. So stay tuned every other week when we have new guests coming on, and they are from all walks of life and so inspirational.
So please do watch, like, and subscribe, all of that kind of stuff, please. And make sure that you drop your comments in on our social media pages.
Gen-X-Perience Podcast. See you there. Hello and welcome to the Gen-X-Perience Podcast. This is Stacey Jackson here. It's for you.
I can't speak right now. Doing a podcast. Well, could we think of any cheesier way to start the podcast on this occasion? And this occasion, not in our usual studio environments, up just outside of Liverpool, but in the capital city. And whereabouts in the capital city are we at the moment then, Stacey?
We are in Mayfair on the top of a beautiful flat or building, but it's all glass. And so we are literally melting.
Dying.
Like melting.
Yeah.
But we couldn't close the shades because it's too dark in here. So we're just, that's okay. If we end up like on the floor in the next half an hour, you'll have to mop us up.
That'll be it. So,
yes.
Well, I mean,
how have you been?
I've got, always. It's good since last you came up to Liverpool.
Yeah.
And we always said that, because you have been making the trek, the commute up to Liverpool to record some stuff. And I did say, look, we'll come down and we'll do some recording in your place because we've got some great guests that are going to be coming up in this part of the season that we're recording at the moment. So you've been in England for about 25 years, haven't you? Something like
that. Yes, good memory.
A little bit of background on you.
Yeah.
How long have you been in this particular location?
Oh, in this location recently, we're now officially empty nesters. Just dropped my daughter off at college, and fourth of four kids, and it's so terrifying because you walk into the flat and you can actually hear the birds chirping now. It's it's so quiet. And it's like my husband and I are kind of like newlyweds now. I mean, it's such a strange feeling. And, you prepare yourself for it. Like, it's going to happen one day. It's not like it's inevitable that they're going to leave the nest. But you don't actually prepare yourself for how you're going to feel because you don't know how you're going to feel until it happens, right? So it's pretty emotional, and my kids grew up in Chelsea, which is literally just over there. So we're not too far from where they grew up, but it's a different vibe. It's more adult, less kids. Like everything's a little bit just more grown up. We're not in the 80s anymore, Toto.
No, absolutely not. What's been, I say, incredible, stressful at the same time at the time of recording this podcast. There is a tube strike in London, and because obviously I'm bringing the kit down from Liverpool, it was, I have to say, probably the most stressful car journey I've ever made in my life. Not coming down here, that was a dream.
I've actually never seen you so stressed out.
It was awful.
Like, I needed to get you a beer, and you're not like that. You don't really. I'm like, you need a beer. I need a beer.
The problem I had is when I got here is that on the way down I was being my usual hospitable northern chap saying, "Oh yes, get yourself out. You can come out." But people just So in the end, I had to. All my kind of like niceties went out of the window when we were here. Yeah. But that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about this season of the Gen-X-Perience Podcast.
I know. Could you believe that a whole entire season, a whole year is gone?
Yeah.
And you can see it growing, and some of the snippets and some of the have gone viral. Like, I mean, for something new, it's really like we should be really proud of ourselves. Give us a high five, babe.
Well,
I think it's doing great. I love that people are watching and listening and following. And so thank you, everyone who's out there watching the Gen-X-Perience podcast. And, we've had such incredible guests, and they're only getting, more and more interesting as the episodes go by. We're going to have this season some spectacular people from all walks of life, musicians, society people, more producers.
I think this was the thing, because what is keen to point out for people who are regular listeners, viewers of this podcast, that we are all about things to do with the lives of people who are a Generation X. But we're throwing the remit a little bit wider this time, aren't we? We're bringing all kinds of people in because we want to hear their stories. And we also want to hear what it was like for them growing up, even though they might not necessarily be the determination of Generation X. They grew up, they were active in those periods.
They were definitely inspired by the 80s and the 90s, or, there was something about their journey, earlier on that kind of made them who they are today. We're interviewing businessmen, people who've been inspired and are now inspirational. And I love that. And I think we're learning a lot also as we interview all these incredible guests. But back on the topic of all of you out there, I really wanted to say that there was one thing of last season that we discussed that apparently sparked a little bit of a debate.
All right.
Do you remember the time when you and I had dinner and you mentioned this on air, and you couldn't believe that I ordered my hamburger a certain way?
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember that episode?
Yeah.
So I said that I of course I love my hamburgers medium rare, and you were astonished, like appalled and astonished.
Burger is burger for me. You go out of a burger place, there's never any kind of are there any special requirements?
I know, but I honestly didn't think that one sentence would actually cause such a kerfuffle. And
in whose favor? Who came out? Who?
Well, it was a little bit of I think an equal thing. It was a proper debate about how people should be eating their hamburgers. It was quite
the debate that needed to happen.
I had to pull myself out of this and just sort of watch from the bird's eye view, and be like, okay, you guys get on with your argument about how you handle your hamburgers, because at this point I think I'm going to become a vegetarian.
Well, I've got to say, listen, if that was controversial, and that's fine. And listen, the interesting thing about this, if we, when we have these conversations, if through the social media channels you're listening and you would like us to debate a particular subject relevant to people who fall into the category of Generation X, then please do get those messages to us. I'm going to be a bit controversial now, because since last we spoke, my wife and I, Jane, watched the Live Aid documentary.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
And we were quite excited about this because it was I think it was something like the 40th anniversary of it or something. And we were quite excited. And I'm going to be controversial and say I was disappointed.
Okay.
I was disappointed.
I'll tell you why.
Go on then.
I'll tell you why. Because when you're living in it in the moment and you're young and you love the music, you couldn't give two shits about what was going on.
No.
You just wanted to see your band and you wanted to see them perform. And that was it. Your perspective back then was much different. Now you've got a lot of baggage. You've been in the industry. You know your stuff. You know your shit, right? So you are also more aware of all the things that could happen or could have gone wrong while putting on the show. And you relate to it also differently, because now you're looking at it from the perspective of being a grown-ass man who's been in the business for a long time. So I can see how you could be like, actually, this wasn't just how I remembered it.
I looked back. I mean, it was a couple of things. And the way Britain did it, as opposed to what they did in Philadelphia, completely different. For example, Queen.
Yeah.
Right. When Queen came, and everybody talks about Live Aid, they talk about Queen.
Yeah.
Their performance, which was great. Queen at the time, the career was.
I know. That actually.
And it kind of saved them. Yeah. But it was the way they were introduced. You probably don't remember this, and because you wouldn't have been in this part of the world at the time, they were introduced by two comedians, Griff Rhys-Jones and Mel Smith. They had
that I don't even remember.
Yeah, Alaska Smith, and they came on as police officers, and they did this routine.
Oh,
and
now I know who they are. Okay.
I don't get this. One of the things, and I've seen this done, comedians in a big live environment like that doesn't work. That's not why people are there. And they introduced Queen, and I was cringing watching it, thinking, no, this isn't right. And then the other thing that I watched was...
you were cringing now when you
Yeah, when I watch it now, probably at the time. Because I love them as comedians. I thought, this is a great
I didn't even know who they were, but now that you're telling me that they were the guys that were dressed up as coppers.
I cringed.
Yeah, I didn't know who they were.
The other one was when you look at some of the big names, it's fair to say when you talk about Live Aid, you think about people like Sting, big artist on that stage.
Yeah.
And he's coming on and he's going to perform... I want my MTV.
Oh, yeah, so he's like the backup singer to the Dire Straits. Yeah, to the Dire Straits song. Yep.
Noel Edmonds comes on, introduces Dire Straits, and forgets to introduce Sting. I mean, that of all the things to get wrong.
But, okay, so now you're watching it as a Gen Xer, looking back at it, and you're noticing these things because you're a presenter. I mean, that is such a faux pas as a presenter, right? So you're relating to this completely from a different perspective.
Well, when it comes to presenter faux pas, I can relate to it all day long.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's why. But like, remember when you were a kid, you couldn't care. I didn't even remember until you brought it up that these two police guys introduced Queen. So totally different perspective, different time. However, because you brought that up, I actually just bought tickets, and I'd love to have you guys come down to see Live Aid, the show on the West End.
How's that going to work?
I have no idea, but my friend said it's fantastic. So it's probably a bunch of singers reenacting the Live Aid concert, I guess. I mean, because obviously none of the bands, but most of the bands are not together now anymore. So I don't know. What I'll do is I'll go see it, and I'll tell you whether or not it's
give us your review.
Yeah, I'll give it a review. If it's one of those things where you and Jane have to come down again and watch it, I will tell you. So let me be the guinea pig. But I mean, I just love the music anyways, and I think that's probably why it's out there.
Oh, yeah,
it's probably just for you to go and enjoy the music. Yeah.
This is the thing. I'm fine with the music. Great. There were some wonderful performances on there. It was just this. I think perhaps maybe what doesn't help is you look at the staging of it 40 years ago. When you look at the staging of things now, it's epic. You know, the light shows and all of that, and the visual aspect of it. So perhaps maybe I'm being a bit harsh. I don't blame you. The weather, but the other thing what got me as well when it went over to Philadelphia, and the one performer sticks out for me was Madonna, and what looked awful is Madonna perspective from the crowd. You see in a performance that looks good, but then there's side cameras. And you see all the people in the wings. And whereas if you look at Live Aid at Wembley, you don't see anybody in the wings, maybe one or two cameramen, a couple of techies. In Philadelphia, there are hundreds of people in the wings. There's fans, there's tech people. And it's like Madonna goes off at one point and she's fighting her way through this sea of people in the wings.
Interesting. Well, remember, there's a heck of a lot more of Americans in America. And also, I would have thought maybe more security, potentially. And what was the other thing you said? There were people in the wings. Who were they? They were...
like the techies and the roadies that would have been there.
And they had fans also
and the fans,
in the back.
The
so maybe they actually sold VIP tickets to have backstage so to raise even more money.
Right.
I mean, I'm not defending.
Maybe no, I get
but
that.
I'd be inclined to figure out why that was like that. But by the way, it was so brilliant at the time. If you think about how it was broadcast for the first time ever, something like that was broadcast around the world, right? And two simultaneous concerts, right? One here in Wembley and one in the States in Philadelphia, and there was one guy, one artist. So I brought this up to you yesterday, and I wonder if the people will know who the answer is to this. But there was one artist who literally was able to fly on the Concorde, which sadly is no longer. And I got to fly on the Concorde before.
Did you?
Yes, before.
I wouldn't have expected anything less.
And who flew the Concorde from here to Philadelphia, and was able to perform at both sides of the pond. And do you know who that person is?
Of course you do. I know who that is. I'll tell you what, we won't answer it yet.
No.
We'll come back and give people the opportunity to comment.
Yes, everyone needs to just, get onto social media, the Gen-X-Perience Podcast. And if you know the name of the artist who flew between Wembley and the Philadelphia Stadium. Can't remember the name of it. Oh my God, I have 2 kids that live in Philadelphia and I can't remember. It's probably changed names now. Let us know in our social media, in the comments, or in the YouTube, or wherever you comment.
We can give a good clue as well, actually.
Yeah, we can.
The artist in question would be appropriate to the venue he performed at in America. If you think about it.
Oh my God.
I've made it dead easy.
Okay.
I've made it dead easy.
Yeah, I was almost going to do something musically, but that was actually, that wasn't easy. That's tricky easy.
Do you know what?
It's clever.
What I want to do as well is because all too often when people talk about big musical festivals and who was your favourite artist on the day? Well, I'm going to put this one out for people who might be wanting to comment on this. Who did you really find a little bit disappointing on the day? And maybe that's a bit unfair to do it. Who did you find was disappointing, and who do you believe should have been on the list? Michael Jackson didn't perform at Live Aid, probably the biggest star in the world at the time. Now, it might have been, you'll know because you're in the industry.
He was also doing the Feed the World thing.
He did that, but he didn't do the live performance, which it might have been commitments, you know what I mean, in terms of like his tour might have been going on. I can't remember exactly, but I know Huey Lewis did. I think Huey Lewis did We Are the World, but didn't do the concert.
Interesting. Good, good little tidbit there.
Yeah.
Well, like again, it's all perspective because I didn't love as many songs back then during the time as I actually do now.
Yeah.
So like I mentioned to you, I wasn't really into Madonna in the 80s when she came out. My love for dance music came in the later 80s, earlier 90s. I was more of a rocker. And so for me, those bands like, who were performing the harder rock, and I sat and watched every instrument, but when Madonna performed, I probably wasn't as interested. So my perspective then is not what it is now. If I rewatched it and I'm going to go to the show in the West End, I'm going to know every song and I'm going to care just as much about every single one, because now it's more nostalgia for me than it is, which song do you like better? Or are you more of a rock chick or a, dance chick, So then it was different. You were coming from a different angle. So we'll see. I mean, I don't know who I expected. I can't even remember, to be honest. I remember Queen. I think the performance sort of outshone.
Yeah.
So, and the fact that it got the whole audience,
it was
engaged. That's something so memorable that I almost can't remember all of them. Like, I just think of Queen when I think of Live Aid, which is weird because it really wasn't about them. And as you said, even weirder was they were on a decline in terms of their career.
I think that'll come on to something else I want to talk about with the Queen performance there. It was almost as if I've not seen, I tell her I have seen Bohemian Rhapsody, the biopic about Queen.
The movie.
But it's almost as if their career depended on that performance. Because had they have gone out there and done a dreadful performance.
They almost didn't do that show, though.
Did they not?
Yes, I remember it being like, well, from the movie. This is not my knowledge as much as I think I'm a guru, but I think this is from the movie. They almost didn't perform there for some reason. Okay. I'm going to have to do a bit of Googling, but I weirdly believe that they didn't want to do it and the label made them do it.
So we've got researchers in the building here. Can somebody look that up, why they didn't perform?
I weirdly remember, and this is from the movie, that it was either that they didn't want to do it and the label made them do it, or they wanted to do it and they couldn't because they were full up of acts. Right. Something happened in the movie about Live Aid, and I don't recall what it was. And again, another thing for you all viewers out there, if you guys know why, let me know. But I you don't remember? Or okay,
no. We might know. If we'd have researched a bit more, we'd have had the answer.
Yeah, well, actually, this was just brought up.
No, it's brought up.
This was just brought up fly by night.
This is how we do it.
This is how we do it. It's no one's perfect, even for gurus like us.
Do we? Laura's our producer there. Is there anything you can tell us? Just shout it out.
I think it just says they were tired.
That's a great reason.
Okay, maybe it's true. Maybe they were off the back of a big tour or something. But I remember there being like a reason why they almost didn't do the show, and that's funny. But so there's the reason. And by the way, it's not even a good reason, but it was a reason. So there you go. Okay, yeah.
Here's something else. Seeing as I'm like trashing the legacy of Live Aid here with my controversial comments.
Yes.
The other thing about it, and again, this was mentioned within the documentary, that if you were watching Live Aid now with that caliber of artist on, as a young person, would you appreciate it? Because if you look at the age group, the demographic of the people who were performing that day, a lot of them late 30s and 40s. Younger people, like Madonna, would have been a cutting edge artist at the time.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? So I think Howard Jones was in there, 85, so he would have been enjoying, But to come back to the point about who I would have liked to have seen on that stage, and I'm pretty certain that the Human League didn't perform. And I thought they would have been brilliant.
Don't You Want Me, Baby.
I think they would have been brilliant to have been on there as well. Just as a one off the cuff. But again, in the comments, on social media.
Did a-ha perform here in Wembley?
Sorry?
A-ha, the band.
No, I don't think they did.
I don't think they did either. I thought maybe they would have done it in Wembley, but I'm not sure.
But Live Aid. Yeah, give us your views.
I will give you a review. I'll let you know. I mean, like I said.
On the show,
from the show. At this stage, for me, it's all about the nostalgia, so I'm excited to see it. I heard everyone saying, "Oh, Stacey, you're gonna love it. You're gonna love it. Queen of the '80s." Yeah. So we'll see if I like it. Otherwise, I will let you know.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So tell me, how have you been? Otherwise, so Liverpool is treating you well.
Liverpool's treated us very well, and in particular, one half of it to do with an interview that we did in the last season when we spoke with Brian Nash from Frankie Goes to Hollywood, which just happens to be, and I say this hand on heart, Frankie Goes to Hollywood is one of my favourite bands.
I agree with you.
I love the music of Frankie Goes to Hollywood.
Yeah.
Now, we spoke with Brian, and it looked like a complete reunion of the band is unlikely for various artistic differences, shall we say.
Yes.
So we got Brian's kind of take on it.
Yeah.
But Jen and I went to watch Holly Johnson.
Yeah.
On his own, singing the Frankie Goes to Hollywood songs. It was exceptional. Wow. I mean, it really, really
Does he still have the vocals? Because he has a very definitive voice,
100%. 100%. I mean, if you're looking for a visually active performer, you're not going to get that with Holly Johnson. But that very that voice was perfect.
Great.
Was absolutely perfect. The rendition and the musical composition that they did of Welcome to the Pleasure Dome, which is how they opened it.
Yeah.
And they opened it with the full, I think it was the best part of a 12-minute opener.
Right.
And because I love that.
The whole intro and
the whole
it builds
start.
The atmosphere.
The Pleasure Dome.
Yeah,
love it, honestly. They did that.
Great opener.
And then they went into War. They did War, which was exceptional.
And so you saw this up in Liverpool?
They were on at the arena. It was a sellout.
Wow.
I think it was the biggest, I mean, you could arguably say, but it was a homecoming for him back to Liverpool. It was the biggest audience that he had of the tour, and it was exceptional.
Well, that's the issue or the problem with bands. It's like your front guy is your front guy. If a musician, and I hate this because it's unfortunate, but like there are very few guitarists, for example, that stand out. I can tell you, there's obviously the Slash, there's the Edge, there's there are a handful that you can know from the moment they strum a guitar who they are, right?
Yeah.
But that's like a handful, I think, in the world, and in as many years of I've been on this earth. But a vocalist. Every vocalist is just distinctive, and so you could take Holly
in the 80s, yeah, sure.
In the 80s, in the 90s, when Celine Dion sings, it's Celine Dion. Do you know who her band is? Do you know? Right. So if you stick Holly Johnson and call it, the new Frankie Goes to Hollywood, if he's still singing and he's doing this exactly. So I actually knew the Spandau Ballet got remade. Quite recently.
Remade.
What do you call them? Rebooted. But the lead singer wasn't there.
Terry Hadley.
And so they auditioned various people, and I actually knew the guy that got the job very well. Old friend of mine, who's not old. But so they, were going on tour, and various things happened, and so it didn't actually pan out. It is very hard to replace a lead singer. The one band that I think was able to replace the lead singer was Journey, I think recently have gone out.
Right.
Was it Journey or Foreigner?
I think if you're looking for a great example of somebody who did manage to replace the lead singer
David
perfectly.
Lee Roth.
No.
Van Halen.
Genesis.
Oh, yeah.
Because you had Peter Gabriel.
Yeah, and then Phil
Collins replaced him. So
Phil Collins singing while he was at the drums, which was always.
But for most other bands, to replace the singer is a Korean guy.
Very Korean. I mean, because David Lee Roth went out on his own, and they replaced with Sammy Hagar, Van Halen, obviously. And there was a whole rift back in the day, like, you know, who do you like better? Is it David Lee Roth or is it, you know, or Sammy Hagar? And, you know, David went off to start his own career. And so, but like you can name them probably on one hand, how many bands there were that like you could replace the lead singer. Guitarists, drummers, bassists, keyboardists, unfortunately. So if Holly went out and did like, you know, the rebooted Frankie Goes to Hollywood, people would go and see it. I mean, he might not own the license to the name, in which case you'd have to have a play on words. But it's not a tribute band when he goes out to perform. Yeah. It's him who's singing, and so he can do all the I's and that stuff. So anyway, but yeah, I digress. I think we need to start our little.
Well, we will. We'll do our trivia set, but just I've got to ask you, what was? Would you know this? The last 80s song that you have listened to in your car, on your phone, since last week? Oh no, sorry, the last 80s song you've listened to. Well, because I can tell you what mine is.
You're gonna laugh because it's actually "Urgent" by Foreigner, because I did the. You
did a version of that.
I did a version of it,
check it out, Stacey Jackson.
And I was working out in the gym, and obviously this is my playlist, and all of a sudden that record, my version of "Urgent," came on. So does that count? I'm not sure. But yeah, so that's the first one that comes to mind because it literally just was yesterday. But I listened to 80s radio stations, so I can't even tell you which one it was because I listen to 80s music every day.
Do you know, I have an appreciation for 80s electronic music more now than I ever had at the time.
Yeah, and you're into synth pop.
Massively, yeah. And I downloaded, I went to iTunes, other streaming platforms are available, of course, but I downloaded Depeche Mode, See You, which goes back early part of the 1980s. It's brilliant. And the Pet Shop Boys, Heart, right? And I loved it. They're so perfect for me. And Depeche Mode, you think Depeche Mode, oh yeah, there's a modern band. They're nearly 50 years old, Depeche Mode. They started in the 70s, late 70s.
Wow.
And of course, we sadly lost a member of Depeche Mode not long ago, Andy Fletcher. Yeah,
that's right.
But I've got this much more appreciation for 80s stuff now.
Oh, I know what I just listened to.
Okay.
Actually, and it's a great song, and I'm not sure, I think it is the end of the 80s. It's a song, I think it's his only hit. I believe it's Tito Jackson.
All right, okay.
Tito Jackson.
Do What You Do?
No, When the Rain Begins to Fall.
Oh, I don't know.
You're the sunshine in my life. When the rain begins to fall. How does it go? I don't know the
It's not
chorus.
ringing any bells with me.
No, Jesus Christ. Okay, I'm going to have to think about this one again. It's Tito with a woman. I just heard this on an 80s radio station I was listening to in the car. I'm going to have to do more Googling because I know the song. I was actually able to sing the lyrics, and now I can't remember the title.
Yeah.
You're the sunshine in my life. We can have it all. I think it's We Can Have It All. Or You're the sunshine of my life.
Somebody will be on. Somebody will be on. So
anyway, I believe that actually it was a hit in the States and probably Canada. I don't even know if it actually did very well here, but I heard it on the radio. Somebody has to do a Google. It's Tito Jackson, as in Michael Jackson's brother.
Yeah.
And some other woman.
Yeah.
You Are the Rainbow in the Sky, Sunshine When You Fall, The Castle in the Sky.
When the rain
begins to fall. That's what I was just thinking.
It might be an idea to replace us with other people that actually know a bit more about. Yeah.
What year was that? Was that late 80s, right? 89, 90?
It's coming. That info's coming.
It is.
It's the heat. We'd normally be able to.
I know. I literally am melting. I'm wearing black trousers.
Black on. I'm killing myself.
Black.
Anyway, listen.
Yeah. Okay, we got to do a trivia, which I'm probably going to suck at because it's been a long time since I've had my 80s cap on. So, as you can tell, if you have a release date, let me know.
Yeah. And then we will tell you about the artist that performed at both Philadelphia and Wembley after this.
Oh, yes.
Right, so 80s trivia quiz.
Okay.
Stacey and me, I'm writing down.
You're going to know all these ones.
I'll go. Do you want me to go first?
Fine.
As soon as you feel as though you are struggling a bit to get back into the groove.
Yeah.
which is a really good way of segueing into this question, actually. What was Madonna's first Billboard 100 number one?
Like a Virgin.
Ah, it is indeed. Well done.
Yeah.
Do you remember that far back? The song, that is?
Do I remember that far back? I don't even remember where I put my car keys 5 minutes ago, my darling. No, I don't remember that far back.
82, 83,
Yeah,
something like that.
okay.
Anyway, okay.
You'll know this one.
You're one there. You're one there. Yeah, go on.
Okay. Which NASA space shuttle exploded after its launch in 1986?
Challenger?
Yeah, I think it's like the only one that I know, actually.
Oh, right, okay. So you get the music one, I get the...
No, you got a music one coming up next.
Okay. Which famous US pop star's original name is Annie Mae Bullock?
Oh, Tina Turner.
I really thought.
Wow, that
Well, I'm for 3 out of
brain
3.
is coming back. Okay. Ooh, I don't know if you're going to get this.
Okay.
I don't know if you're going to get this. Which rap band was blamed for the theft of thousands of Volkswagen badges from their cars?
Beastie Boys.
Yes.
Some people in the rap community would take issue with them being referred to as a rap band, I would have said.
Wow.
Right, okay.
Oh, you're going to get this
So
one
we're
too.
both
Okay,
on
we're
two.
tied
We're both
If I don't
on
get
two.
this one, I'm dead because you're going to get this one.
Listen, I guarantee you're going to get this one.
Okay.
Because prior to being here, we had a conversation about it.
Okay.
What type of multi-layered skirt became popular in 1982?
Oh, the rah-rah skirt.
Yeah, okay, you got 3 out of 3.
But actually, I don't think we actually called it rah-rah skirts. I think we were ruffle skirts or
Well, the
something,
people who
right?
compiled
I
this question, they call it the rah-rah
Okay,
skirt.
the rah-rah skirt. I do not know if this is British or American. I'm not going to lie. But anyway, okay. I think it's going to be a tie, darling, because you will know the answer to this. What car do Marty McFly and Doc Brown use to travel back to the future?
DeLorean.
Now, that's why we host a podcast about
3 out of
Gen
3
X.
for
Yeah.
both of us,
Another
right?
high five.
Okay, I'll give you that
Okay.
one there. We
Yeah.
got it this time.
Okay, this time we tied.
So, the person who performed not only at Wembley but at Philadelphia.
Phil Collins.
Yeah, there we are.
That was I call those blickums. Blickum.
Coming in the air tonight.
Yes.
I know what you mean.
And what was the release date of that? Did you Google? 84. Yeah, it was an 80s song, but it was so obscure. You know, I don't even know if it actually...
This was the Tito Jackson?
This is the Tito Jackson, and I don't know who the woman was, but like a one-hit wonder type of song. And I just heard it on the radio, and I weirdly remembered the lyrics. I don't remember the name of the song, but it was in the lyric. And it's amazing how it's so obscure, total one-hit wonder type of thing. I don't even know if it was a hit here, but I remembered it, and I was like blasting it in the car. I'm going to put it on my playlist now, work out to it.
Yeah.
Totally inspirational.
Well, I've got to say, just before we conclude, what was kind of getting me in the mood to do the podcast, even though we didn't spend a lot of time there, we went to Camden.
Oh, yeah.
The other day before we came speaking with you. And Camden is one of those places which is so associated with the music scene.
Yeah, I performed there a couple times. Yeah.
Like Madness and the Amy Winehouse, which is all over the place and what have you. And it is one of the things that we enjoy when we come down to London is going round there. And it's one of those things that I think next time might go soak up more of that musical atmosphere a little bit, because there's been some great bands.
I agree. Well, you need to stay a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dublin Castle. A pub called the Dublin Castle.
Okay.
That's where you need to
I'm
go.
going to remember that.
Yeah.
And I just came back from a trip to Nashville. So speaking of
right.
live music.
Where's your hat?
You would die for my hat.
Okay.
I actually made my own hat.
Okay.
We go to a hat place in the middle of Nashville, and there are these magnificent hats, like not cheap shit, like proper hats.
Yeah.
And they like curl it to the right sort of angle for your head. You can
Steam it. They steam it.
I don't know what they do, but once you choose what you want, they put it in that spot, and you could decorate it with feathers or beads or any of the, knickknacks you want. And I had the best time. I was with my girlfriends, and it was live music after live music after live music, gin and tonic after gin and tonic after gin and tonic.
Yeah.
But I have to tell you, and you would love it, because I hear you're into cowboy hats and cowboy boots lately.
The way you worded that makes it sound like I've got some kind of fetish, but never. No, I've been hosting some country music festivals called the Campfire Festivals.
Okay.
And it wasn't one of these, it wasn't a mercenary thing thinking, I'll do that, I'm getting paid for doing it. Because I was gravitating towards the country music scene, which is huge at the moment.
Yes, it is.
I might add as well.
It is now finally breaking through the American walls.
Yeah, well, you listen, when you've got people like Beyonce.
Yeah.
You think, I'll have a piece of that.
Yeah,
and Sabrina
for sure.
Carpenter, people like that, Taylor Swift.
Yeah, and also DJs who are remixing incredible country music songs. Obviously, Taylor Swift, she was probably one of the leading ladies in country music. So yes, that is definitely a trip you guys have to do.
Well, you can use your influence. Maybe we'll go and record a podcast over there in Nashville.
I will be glad to do it, and I could easily get a few people from that neck of the woods.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Jolly good. Sounds good to me. Right, well, that's it. We end the podcast on level pegging scores in our 80s trivia quiz. And don't forget, as we mentioned at the beginning part of the podcast, we've got some tremendous acts.
Yes.
We're going to be, I call them acts, you see, I'm getting me entertainment. Yeah. Tremendous contributors.
Yeah.
They're going to be joining us over this season. We're going to be speaking with people about makeup. And yes, it's of interest to me as well, that. And we are also going to be finding out about social etiquette. We're going to be speaking with musicians, all kinds of people. Mm-hmm. And we would appreciate your involvement as well. So if there is perhaps maybe a subject that you'd like us to debate, which is relevant to you, and you might fall into the same age category as we are, and you'd like us to talk about it, then please do get in touch on our social media pages, and we'll see whether or not we can do it for you. And I think with that, we can bid you farewell.
Sign out. So look out for me, Stacey Jackson, and my
Roy
pal
Basnett.
Roy Basnett for this whole new season of the Gen-X-Perience Podcast.
Right. Bye.
And don't forget to like and subscribe on all our social media platforms. We'll see you every other week with a new guest.